Good morning. It's Thursday, the 25th of June, 2026, and it's very interesting when you look at what's happening right now. We're going through a period of exposure where people are starting to see things. Some people are seeing it very quickly, some people are not. And I'm going to give you an example. Zelensky in Ukraine, we've all heard of him. There's 400 billion US dollars that's gone missing. Nobody in the Treasury knows where it's gone. Nobody in Ukraine knows where it arrived. They don't know where it went. No accountability for it at all. And they all deny ever seeing it, or they have no idea where it's gone. And yet Zelensky has a house in Miami, paid for, which costs 35 million. Now, we all know that the salaries of politicians is probably 100, 200,000, maybe a little bit more. So if you add up the time that he's been in office, to be able to buy a house worth 35 million US dollars, that doesn't equate. He's also got 1.2 billion in offshore bank accounts. We've got hard proof of that. He's got 15 houses paid for, not on mortgages, paid for. He's got 3 private jets. Now, I can throw away a comment like 3 private jets, but have you any idea how much a private jet is? I mean, the private jets that he's got range between 20 million each and 70 million. That's a lot of money. His monthly income, he's got a monthly income from God knows where, of $11 million a month. Are you awake yet? It's there in front of you when you're looking, when you can see it. But there's so many people that are completely blind to what's really going on. Now, you just think I'm throwing figures at you. And yes, I am. But the reality is $400 million has gone missing, and the Treasury doesn't know where it's gone, and Ukraine doesn't know where it's gone, but they want you to pay it back. How dumb are you? I'm not being rude, but if you're going to sit there and not question where 400 million, sorry, I lied. It's not 400 million, it's 400 billion. 400 billion has disappeared. And you're sat there right now and you're not doing anything about it. But you're the one that's got to pay it back. This is all done to wake people up. This is all part of the movie. This is all part of the pantomime. And I urge my audience on a regular basis, are you awake yet? Because if you're not, and that doesn't wake you up, then you're not asleep. You're dead. Morning, Drew.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everyone. Charlie, I'm going to stay on that gravy train actually because I want to highlight that what came out a couple of days ago was Mike Benz has alleged that USAID funding was used to support NGOs linked to George Soros. Now, you hit the spot about a year ago on this and exposed it all, so it's come back around because maybe the masses still need to wake up and see. And it didn't work last year, so maybe it might work this year. Just putting that out there.
Well, you have a very good point there, Drew, because we did raise this maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, about money disappearing into thin air. I was out for dinner last night with some very good friends of mine that 3, 4, 5 years ago told me, not interested in what I was saying, they lived in their happy bubble. Suddenly their bubble's no longer quite as happy as it used to be. Things are disturbing them in their bubble. And last night they were starting to ask questions. And in typical Charlie fashion, I dropped little bolts into their mechanics so that it crunched around a bit and left them to think about it. And I'll let them come back to me with questions. But it's starting to affect people. And when it affects you, then you start to ask questions. There is so much going on. I heard somebody I didn't hear somebody, I saw somebody write a comment and it made me laugh. It just shows how thick they are. And they wrote a comment in one of the videos, and I don't hardly ever look at it, but it caught my eye, saying, Charlie said there were going to be arrests and there hasn't been any. Well, just because you haven't been arrested, you don't see it, do you? You thick twat. There's so many arrests going on right now, you can't make it up. There's senators, there's congressmen, there's people, judges. There's been judges arrested and sent to prison. Oh, you don't see that because it's not the people that you wanted to be arrested. That's how dumb some people are. They're not even seeing it. Every single day, I'm seeing another senior person, whether in government, whether in law enforcement, whether in the judicial system, the military, the police. Daily, I'm seeing people sent to prison for a long time. I was a bit disturbed yesterday when I saw a judge sent to prison for 1 year for abusing young children, trafficking young children, when another judge in another county, who just happened to be a Republican, was sent to prison for exactly the same crime for 20 years. The Democrat judge was only sent for a year. Maybe that's how they get their voters, by guaranteeing them not to go to court. And if they go to court, by not going to prison. I'm just saying, I don't know. But the reality is there is a two-tier judicial system. There's a two-tier system. And we're seeing it being exposed in the movie, in the pantomime right now. Sorry, Drew.
Well, going into my first story, Charlie, staying on that, a Trump-appointed federal judge has suggested the US Supreme Court should reconsider whether the death penalty can be imposed for child rape. Judge Joshua Devine argued that legal and societal circumstances have changed since the court's 2008 ruling, which found capital punishment for child rape unconstitutional where the victim survives. The judge pointed to 6 Republican-led states that have since passed laws allowing the death penalty for certain child rape offences. The opinion does not change the existing law, but could add to calls for the Supreme Court to revisit its earlier decision.
And this is where, depends how you look at the world. I have this conversation with my wife regularly, where she says, how could people do that to children? How could people do that to women? And I said, when you grasp that these people, their God is Satan, these people are evil, they're motivated by doing this. And in my opinion, and it is only my opinion, people should be dealt with for the crimes against humanity, especially when it's crimes against children. And we're seeing a lot of crimes against children right now. And these people need to be dealt with. And I'm a huge fan of Vladimir Putin. When he catches people doing things like this, my job is not to deal with you. My job is to send you to a man who will deal with you. So when he was accused of executing somebody, he said, no, I've just sent them to God and let God deal with them. That's an interesting philosophy too, but it made me smile. My next story is what's happening in the world right now with illegals. If you're a lefty or a Democrat, you'll turn around and say, we need these people to do the jobs that the citizens won't do. I hear that a lot in England. We need the refugees for doing all the dirty jobs that the British people don't want to do. Let me remind you, it was the lefties and the Democrats that said this during slavery. Let that sink in. It's been going on for years. It's a mindset. And we get lazy. We get lazy. Like around my house, I was just telling Drew, there's certain jobs that I do that I want to do around the house. I could afford to have somebody do it, but I'll do it myself because I enjoy it. The satisfaction and the fulfillment of doing a job yourself. And there's an old saying, if you want a job doing properly, do it yourself. I enjoy doing it, and I'm teaching Justin to repair things. I was speaking to one of the people from Matt Armstrong's channel yesterday about rebuilding cars rather than just discarding them and buying a new one. The satisfaction that a man gets out of construction or building is huge. And our men have become very weak, very pathetic, a lot of them. But now we're seeing a new generation of men who are creative, who are building things. That's the sort of man that I want to see, because they're the sort of men that will build a new earth which has value, because it was built for them by men, not by robots, not by AI, not prefabricated, not modular, hand-built. Something that's hand-built has value. Drew.
Next up, President Donald Trump has delayed signing a bipartisan housing bill, saying he wants Congress to pass the Save America Act first. Trump says election security is a national emergency. The proposed legislation would require proof of US citizenship to register to vote, mandatory photo ID for federal elections, and increased oversight of voter registration rolls. Supporters say the measures would strengthen election integrity, whilst critics argue they could make voting more difficult for some eligible voters.
Well, my final story sums up Trump, because Trump is not a politician. Trump is a businessman, a very, very smart businessman. Whether you like him or not is irrelevant. I don't care. What I care about is he's running the place like a business. He's exposed NATO. He's currently with NATO, and he's exposed them. He's exposing the UK. He's exposing France. He's exposing the EU. He said the other day the UK is dying, and it is. The UK is a mess. There are commentators on mainstream media who say, oh, the UK is beautiful. The UK is a mess. The City of London is a mess. And it's such a sad thing, because the UK has an absolute abundance of crude oil in the North Sea, and they're not using it. It's like somebody I know here in Spain that used to have a swimming pool cleaning business, and he went out of business. Not because there was no pools down here, because there's loads, because he was useless. Because I know pool cleaners who are good. Those pool cleaners are millionaires because they do a good job. The UK is sat with an absolute abundance of crude oil. The reality is they've got the refineries, they've got the oil. You could have petrol prices at less than half the price if you wanted it. Let me leave you with that thought. That was the news on Thursday, the 25th of June, 2026. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
So if you want to know the truth, come to charlieward.com and see real news daily. And join the Insiders Club, which is live on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Global tensions are rising, markets are unstable, and currencies keep losing value. While governments print more money, smart investors are moving into physical gold and silver, assets that have protected wealth for centuries. That's why more people are turning to Charlie's Gold to secure their future before the next financial shakeup hits. Don't leave your wealth exposed. Own something real. Own gold and silver. Visit charlies.gold today.